you've ever seen, and no man alive was going to be worthy to marry my pretty daughter. But finally, after a few years, a fellow with a beard married her. But it's amazing how fine the grandchildren are. But then we met her, and I was busy, and we had another boy, Peter. We didn't order him, but Lord, has he blessed us. And we finally found out what was causing those children. And we haven't had any more. But it's been wonderful, and they've blessed us so much. And I can tell you a whole story about each one of them.
Well, how many grandchildren do you have now?
Well, last time I counted, there were 8.
8? Oh.
8 grandchildren. And one of the things that my wife has helped us do is to, once a year, we have just Ernest Seckinger and a Jesse Seckinger family reunion. Well, that's about 20 if you count them all up. And we go to St. Simon's, or maybe one day we went to St. Augustine. Next year we're going to, where are we going next year? Somewhere around the North Georgia. We've already got rid of, I don't know where it is. It's that expensive hotel. These children got money, and they don't want to camp out and things. We're going to Fieldstone Inn, about $100 a night. But, you know, we'll save up and we'll go, and we'll have a ball. And we'll even rent a boat and go on a platoon boat. How do you say it? Spittoon? No.
No.
Platoon
Platoon.
boat ride. And we have a fun. So we got a wonderful family, and we're very grateful. And
where did this one come from? Which?
Nephew.
Oh, that's nephew. Okay.
yeah, well, he's a fine boy. He came up to Young Harris College,
Oh, okay.
and he made a 3.8.
Goodness. And what's his name?
At Young Harris College.
David.
David.
I'm another David.
Another David.
David Wayne Seckinger. See, we've got a boy named David Seckinger, but this is David Wayne Seckinger.
Gotcha.
And so now that you're retired, are you retired?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you do with yourself?
Man, I'm having so much fun. Jesus said, I'm come that ye might have life and have it abundantly. And if it were any better, I don't think I could stand it.
Oh, wonderful.
When that teacher said that, you know, I said I got a problem, I got an opportunity to do all the good I can, in all the ways I can, all the times I can, and that's what I'm doing. I'm now coordinator for the Christian Usher movement. It's an international thing, East Andy Jones. It's completely interdenominational. We simply say, Jesus is Lord. And Mr. Thompson, if Jesus is your Lord and He's my Lord, then doesn't that make us brothers and be sisters? And I have tried to encourage 9 Christian ushers in 7 states. We start at Young Harris and then over to Tennessee, Kentucky. We've got 2 in Ohio, 1 in Indiana, and 1 in West Virginia, and 2 in Virginia. And I can't visit them all, I've visited some of them. But it's a great thing. I've attended about, I think, 38 or 39 Christian ushers. And it's designed to be, you experience the kingdom of God in that weekend together because you love and honor God. And that's what the kingdom of God is about.
That's like a retreat.
Yeah, but we don't call it a retreat because we call it a Christian ashram.
What does that word mean then?
It's a word came from the Indian culture, means away from word.
Okay.
In India, people go out in the forest and sit at the feet of a guru, that means a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And East Andy Jones and a native Indian and an English missionary were out praying, and they said, you know, we could adapt that to the Christian faith. But he said, Christ is our guru, Christ is our teacher. So we have a motto, sort of like the Boy Scouts, you know. We say, Jesus is Lord. That was the first Christian creed.
Mm-hmm.
And and we build it around that. And I have noticed in every Christian ashram I've ever attended, if a person has come with a big burden, he's surrounded by such love and acceptance that you can sense healing taking place. And if it's a person that wants to grow deeper in commitment to Christ, he's inspired. And the ideal is to go back to your home church. We're not any church. We're not Methodist, Baptist, we just love Christ. And we go back inspired. We're better churchmen because we came to it. That's sort of what I'm doing. But I'm also a hobby beekeeper. And I just have so much fun, not getting stung, but sharing honey. For example, I'm going down to Effingham by the Sea Friday. And they invite me to the house party. And you do that, you get rich people down there, and you wine them, and I don't mean you wine them, but you dine them, and you cut them, and you sort of stroke the backs, and when you leave, they want you to grease the palm. Well, I've got more honey than I've got money. So I give them 2 cases of honey every year, which is about $100 a case, when I let them buy them. You see, let the people, they always want my honey. But I said, you can't have Jesse, but you can have this sourwood honey. So, and then I add a little bit to it, and they keep inviting me in spite of the fact that I don't, give as much as the rich Springfield people would go. M.W. Bagg used to go, and I mean, he'd give them maybe $500,000, but that's, I'm a hobby beekeeper, and that's why I do it, because I share. I give Raymond and I, my brother, we're in the beekeeping business, and he went to Young Harris, and we sold one year about $165 worth, and we gave it to scholarships. And he's back in the bee business, but mostly furniture salesman now. But I'm a gardener, and you need to be a gardener and a beekeeper, because if it rains, the bees can't bring the nectar in. It washes it out. But if it rains, the garden grows good. The only problem is the weeds grow too. But I've learned on the Bear's Nest farm that the time to fight weeds is while they're babies. So when it rains, I till it and cut those little weeds, because if you wait till they get big, they'll whip you. But I'm a gardener, I'm a beekeeper, I'm a hobby historian, I'm an honorary member of the Southeastern Jurisdictional Historical Society. It's these last 7 states, and one time I gave a paper year before last, on the history of Effingham County. Now, if you get me started on that, you see, it would be sometime, maybe I'd like to, I'm a charter member of Historic Effingham, and maybe sometime if they wanted, I could do a 30-minute or something talk on the camp meeting, which is
That's
really part
lovely,
of
we'll
our history.
put you down for that.
Okay. But now I want you to turn that camera back on that fellow there. But be careful, because that head it might blow your fuse. But that's a sign of intelligence, that high forward like that. But now these bushy-headed folks, he said grass doesn't grow on a busy street, but she said it doesn't grow on a rock either. But is there anything else that you think?
We've got about 25 minutes.
Okay.
You got?
Tell me when, I know you said you were chaplain in the Navy,
Yeah,
in the Second World War,
yeah.
and tell me a little bit about where you went.
Well, when I was principal of the school in 1939, and you see, and then 41, all my buddies passed right by going to war. Well, the draft board, I was a ministerial student, had already started in school for ministry, and the reasoning was we need preachers more than we need cannon fodder, but more than we need soldiers. But I felt for those people, and Chris up at Clio.
Chris Allen.
Chris Allen was my classmate. He was killed. And but I just, war doesn't make sense. You don't ever settle anything with war. And I've got a fire-eating, fighter. But when I was finishing Candle School of Theology, the people from the Navy came and said, we're bleeding for chaplains, we need chaplains. And I was pastor of the Bloomingdale Charge, and the war was still going on. And I talked to Bishop Moore. I was pastor of Belgium, Bloomingdale, and Poole. And we were having such a great time. In 7 months, we'd taken in about 70 people. Belgium Church, the Lord doubled the membership of that. And we're just having a great time. I was scoutmaster, was only, not many young men were around. But they needed him in the Navy. And when I got up to, by the way, 2 doctors looked at me, and one this said, one that end, and said, yeah, he stopped a bullet. And they said, the man in charge said, expedite this man's application. They gave me some little test. And I didn't know what the word expedite meant, good. But next thing I knew, I had my hand up and I was in the U.S. Navy. And by the time I finished chaplain school, about the time I started, we had VE Day. And then just before I left, we had VJ Day. So it was peacetime. But it was a bigger challenge to be a chaplain right after the World War, I think, because everybody was glued on winning the war. But they said, we won the war. Well, I was on a troop transport. I was stationed at Mare Island Navy Yard, waiting on a ship. And that's where I got the Dear John letter. And I tell you what, I was gun shy about the girls. But I would read a book and I would report to the chief chaplain, Ditmar, about what I'd done. Well, that was a little unusual. They weren't used to people reporting, but I had learned to do that in organizing the First Methodist Church and one of others, reporting on what I was doing. So he was sort of impressed. And he got all of us chaplains together. He said, now, I'm the chaplain here and I'm expected to preach and I don't have time to nursemaid you fellows. If you want to do something, you can go any way you want to. And I found a Marine Separation Center where they said they needed a chaplain. And so the man in charge said, if you don't mind, I want you to work as a yeoman so you'll know sort of the paperwork and so on. And then I started counseling with those Marines. And some of them had gotten Dear John letters. And some of them, the wife had maybe run off. Maybe they'd shacked up with somebody. Oh, see, it was pretty rough. And I had 9 families that I was counseling with pretty careful. And Chaplain Ditmar, I was the only chaplain, but he let me preach one Sunday morning at that 11 o'clock service. And he had a pretty wave. You know what you call the girl neighbors, maybe? And she sort of took an interest in me. And I looked at her, but I was girl shy. But she called me up one afternoon and said, Chaplain, it's 1600. The neighbor didn't even know how to tell time. It was 4 o'clock. But she said, it's 1600. The commanding officer, he's the captain, I think, he's already gone for the day. But you have just we've just received a message from BUPERS, whatever that meant, Bureau of Naval Personnel, I think, that's ordering you to the USS Monrovia via the first air transportation. And she said, now when you get that message, you've got to be in the air, I think, in 2 hours or so. She said, I thought you might like a little advance notice to get ready. Well, good Lord, I don't know what I'd have done if I hadn't got it. She said, now the captain won't get this message till 8 o'clock in the morning. And I stayed up nearly all night. You had to have just a certain poundage. And I gave away my radio, and I found another chaplain, and I gave him those references and told him to follow up on that. And I rushed off and caught the first flight I could. And I got to Seattle, Washington, and the last ferry had just gone to Bremerton, where my ship was. Well, you're going to get a hotel. It started back about 5 o'clock in the morning. fellow that was on an aircraft carrier, and we got to be buddies. He knew the Navy language pretty good. A man came up to us and said, "I need a dollar for some coffee." And he looked at him and he used some Navy language and said, "Blankety blank blank, you don't need no dollar." Said, "You go buy more beer with it. Come on in here, let's eat a good supper." And we ate that fellow, fed him a good supper and let him tell us what all his problems were. And I said, "Now, I never did learn that in theology school, but that was more Christian than what I would have done." But anyway, we caught the ferry, and I was so afraid my ship was going to leave. And he said, "No, you got to come aboard my aircraft carrier, you got to see it." Well, I didn't want to do it, but I didn't want to hurt his feelings, and I said, "Let's hurry." And about that time I saw a ship about like mine coming along, going out Puget Sound. See, I said, "Good Lord, I done met my ship." He said, "Oh, Chaplain, that's not the 31. You see that number? That's not 31. But I didn't spend much more time on that. I went and I clicked my heels together and fell up there by that goat thing, the goats walk across the way, called a gangplank. And I saluted him and said, "Chaplain Seckinger, permission to come aboard." He said, "Chaplain Seckinger, we've been expecting you. Welcome aboard." Well, we sat in that harbor at Birmingham for about 2 weeks, and everybody was on liberty. They didn't want no chaplain, nothing. We had a little service, sort of a corporal's guard came. But then we went down to Seattle, and we sat there about a week. The Navy's in such a hurry and wait. So we were to pull out. And by the way, while I was there, I talked to some folks, and they thought I ought to come and join the Methodist conference there, and they'd start me off at about $4,500 or $5,000. Well, good Lord, in South Georgia, you had to be a minister about 10 years to get that sort of salary. But anyway, we pulled out, and in the Puget Sound, it was pretty easy. But when we hit the Pacific, it was terrific. The benches, I don't think they call them benches, but they were hitting the bulkheads. Now that's just the walls on each side. And I was going to have my first Sunday morning service. And I had a yeoman that was does your work for you, and you probably got somebody to do your work if you got a job. Secretary.
No, I'm it.
But anyway, we got everything ready, and I began to feel funny. I just wanted to go to bed. And I said, you sort of handle the 40. I'll be back. I think it was maybe 900 when you're going to have the service, maybe 10 o'clock. And I went back to my room, and I got on the bed. I felt so good and nothing wrong. And I went and had the service, and of course I forgot about my feeling, but as soon as the service was over, I began to feel dizzy, sort of sick of the stomach. But I never did give it up. That bed felt so good, I didn't think, and I just walked around. I might have went over the side one time, I don't remember, but I never did give it up. And I never did get seasick again. And we were in typhoons where the bow of the ship would go under, and water would come across it, and then they would, and when it would go under, the screws would come up out of the water, shake. And I was in all that, never did get seasick again. But I had one fella, from the time we was on that transport, and from the time we left San Francisco till we got to Okinawa, the doctor and I were sweetmates, and he'd come to see me one day, and the doctor the next day, and the executive officer the next day. "I'm seasick. I want shore duty." And as we pulled into Okinawa, remember we invaded Okinawa in April of 1945, and then in January of 46, a typhoon came, and as we came in, I counted about 100 ships that had been sunk. The mast or something was up. Of course, they'd plowed out a lane that we could travel in, and my telephone rang. It was Al Sperner, the executive officer. He said, Chaplain, who's that blankety blank fellow that wants shore duty? And I told him. He said, well, I believe from the looks of this deep beat up place, I can find a fellow to relieve him. I said, now Al, he's either an order or an opportunity. He said, Chaplain, let's make him put up a show. And I brought him in, I said, well, we got you shore duty. He got up and, thank you, Chaplain, thank you. How long before we get to the States? I said, I don't know, but that doesn't matter. I said, we got you shore duty now. And he looked out the window of that beat up place, and he turned sort of green. Chaplain, I didn't want shore duty here. So I leveled with him, told him the whole situation. I said, now we're not gonna let you die, and you come to see me anytime you think you're in trouble. But I said, if I were you, I wouldn't go to that doctor or that executive office again. And he laid low, and I checked on him. He was still seasick a little bit, but he didn't advertise it. And he finally got shore duty in the state. That's the funniest thing. It wasn't funny when that happened, but we were on a transport. I thought we had worn out the 38th parallel. We were left from Seattle. We got up, and then we'd go to 38th parallel. And we went to Xinjiang, China the first time. Brought a bunch of Marines back. And I was recreation officer, and the captain liked the way I was having fun with the men. And so he said, these Marines will carry back every junk that they got, and they're going to throw it away. He said, don't advertise it, but he said, I have kept one, what do you call it, hole in the ship, one compartment. And I didn't want to, but you're going to have that for recreation, smokers and things for the and so that was fine till we got to Shanghai. But guess what? The captain came to me and said, Chaplain, he said, there's about 200 men over here that have been waiting for 6 months to get back. And he said, we got to take them back. I said, I understand. So we didn't have that extra place just for play. When I got to Shanghai, I saw a body floating down the river, the Yangtze River. And I said to someone, he said, oh, Chaplain, forget it. He said, human life is cheap over here. But it sort of shook me up. But you see, I had a service every day. I called it 4 o'clock, but they said it was 1600 for 30 minutes. And the first time we had, I think I was the only chaplain aboard that had a service every day. But those new recruits, you see, they wanted to, and they'd come to church. And some of them got serious after about 6 weeks, you see, wanted to be baptized. And some of them wanted to be baptized by immersion. Well, you don't have enough water in the Navy baptized by immersion, because if you put them over the side, I sure ain't going over there with them. So we had to, I baptized some men in the baptistry, I think it was a Baptist church in Hawaii, Honolulu. But we were in Shanghai, in that Yangtze River. And I called up the commanding officer of the base there and got permission to baptize 3 men by immersion. Well, you know, Methodist baptized by immersion or by sprinkling or pouring. It's the Lord that cleanses them, whether it's by dry cleaning or laundry, but it's the Lord that cleanses them. So I was baptizing, and there were big, strong men. It didn't look like they were anywhere near drowning. So I got the first big fella, and being a Methodist, I baptized by immersion and thoroughly. And I put him all the way down, and I said, in the name of the Father, brought him up, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit, and brought him up, and about the time I heard a big bang, and looked up the river about a half a mile away, or maybe a mile, I saw a bullet bouncing on the water. This ship was having gunnery practice, and I had permission, but they didn't know about it. And, so the next fella, he was bigger and stronger. And I grabbed him and put him on the bottom, and I said, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And I put him up. And I said, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And I said, men, let's go. We're being baptized under fire. So that was some experiences I had. But I had a service just for the officer's mess. That meant every officer came down. We didn't have, we had segregation. The black people had to be orderlies and so on, but so far as rank was concerned, anybody could come. But most of the officers came to that early service. But then on the top side, everybody would come, the officers and men. And Al Spurney was a Unitarian from Pennsylvania, forgotten what place. He'd been to Yale. And he said, now Chaplain, he said, I'm a Unitarian. I'm not going to believe half of what you say, but I'm going to come to the service just for example. I said, thank you, Al, for the challenge. And I later ended up performing the wedding for his, for the ceremony for the wedding. We came to great, and he thought I ought to go to Yale. That might have been a little something. For the reason I went there on my GI fund, but I went because Albert Allen was one of the, he was from South Georgia, one of the great historians and thinkers of this century. But now, I remember one afternoon, we were not in combat. You see, the shooting had stopped. But we would see along the China coast a little puff of white smoke, the communists were beginning to take over. And we would sort of laugh at the play, you know, it wasn't dropping no atomic bombs or nothing, but they just enough of them just kept on. But I remember in the China Sea, one morning about 8 o'clock, the man in the crow's nest that's keeping watch, he yelled out, "Horn mine, dead ahead!" And the fellow on the ship said, so many, you know, we turned left to right, and then we sort of stopped, and the men in the gunnery practice, they wanted some practice. And they shot that wash tub. It looked just like a wash tub floating, the little things up like that. And they blew it up. I got a picture, 2 of them. And then about 1100, another one. And then about 1400, another one. We blew up 3 mines. And guess what? I've been having anywhere from 60 to 100 for the afternoon service. Now another 100 or so would be up shooting dice or something up on the gun towers. And I could tell when I was getting through, because if they held this dice up like this and didn't throw them, I knew I was getting through. But this afternoon, I bet you had 1,000 men, and they had the hymn books and they were singing. It wasn't funny. You know, that quick religion, the no atheists and foxholes. And we were getting, you know, we hit one of those things, it'd have been trouble. We'd have lost some lives, but that's an interesting experience. But I had a great time. I would go to my office at 8 o'clock in the morning, and from then until noon, there'd be a line waiting to see me.